Oh, I want to.
All right, I'm going to call them. It is 9:30. We're going to call the meeting to order, please. And we will begin with the salary board meeting, and we'll call that to order. Audrey, is there any, if you could take roll call, please.
Commissioner Nieder.
I am here.
Commissioner Fauci.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger. And Controller Whitman.
Here.
All right. Is there any public comment to come before the salary board at this time? Audrey, is there anyone online? If you are online and wishing to make a comment before the salary board, please use the raise your hand feature.
We have one individual online, but no public comment.
No public comment. All right. We will move forward then with the approval of the minutes of the October 24th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 24th.
I second. There's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next up, we have the approval of the salary board actions.
I'll make a motion to approve the salary board actions except for the district attorney's office and the public defender's office.
I'll second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 No.
Okay. So that motion carries. Is there any, oh, we need to move on to the others.
District attorney's office.
A motion to approve the hiring of Mr. O'Shea.
I'll second the motion.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
The public defender's office.
I respectfully request and move to approve the various hiring and promotions that were previously requested.
I'll second the motion.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the salary board at this time?
I have one question for Michael.
Yes.
So the request that was just approved was essentially for an upgrade to I believe 6 positions or
Yes.
more than that. So is the premise behind that the salary survey results were inadequate for your needs?
I don't think I understand the question. If you can.
So the salaries were set by the most recent salary survey, and that was to bring us up to date. So
No, this was there was a bottleneck that was specific to my office regarding going from senior 2 to senior 3, where you had to be death penalty certified.
Yeah.
That was partially dependent on clients' willingness to go to trial.
all right.
For no other attorneys that are subject to the same legal series had that same restriction. So it was a potential ethical issue where a client could say, you're telling me to go to trial because you want to have the requisite number of trials, and your advice is being effective for monetary reasons.
Okay.
What we're doing now is the change was, as long as the person is actively getting their credits, doing their job properly, and having a program that they are also heading, then they would proceed forward to senior 3. That's where that.
Okay, that makes sense. So but one hypothetical here.
Yes.
So, and I'm basing this on a comment that came out of the meeting we had with the courts.
Yes.
So these certifications are required for death penalty cases.
Correct.
However, if we don't recognize the death penalty in Pennsylvania, but the district attorney makes a choice that he wishes to pursue a death penalty case, even though there's not going to be a death penalty.
Yes.
And that is what drives the requirement that we have death penalty certifications in his office. Does that equally drive the requirement for the certifications in your office?
Yes, because we have to have people that are certified for it. If the district attorney's office had a policy of never going for death penalty, then that wouldn't.
Right.
Obviously, with administration changes and their ability to have make that decision on their own, we would still have to have it.
Sure.
But if they got rid of it, then we wouldn't need it.
Okay, that helps clarify your issue. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Any other business to come before the salary board at this time?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. So moved. We are adjourned from salary board, and we will begin the Board of Commissioners meeting and start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Begin with a roll call for the commissioners meeting, Audrey.
Commissioner Leader,
I am here.
Commissioner Fauci,
I'm here.
Commissioner Porter.
Is there any public comment on non-agenda items that individuals would like to make at this time before the Board of Commissioners? If there is anyone online, please use the raise your hand feature. Audrey, is there anyone indicating that they would like to make public comment at this time?
Not at this time.
Okay, anyone in the room? Here's not. We will move forward with the consent agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. So the consent agenda is a list of routine items that do not appear to be controversial in nature and which seem to not require additional discussion. If discussion is desired on any particular item, and that would be agenda items 4 through 14 on the agenda, now would be the time to make that request.
I like the personnel transactions.
Hearing no other requests, Commissioners, I would request approval of the consent agenda with the exception of agenda item number 5.
For approval.
Second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners. So next up would then, prior to going to the regular agenda, would be discussion and approval of the personnel transactions, agenda item number 5.
Say that again.
Sorry. Next up would be, before we go into the regular agenda, we just need to address agenda item number 5.
Okay. So we have a list of personnel transactions that had been supplied to us. And apparently there is some objection. Or what discussion did you want to make regarding?
I don't know if there's any discussion. I think the process here has been that I can vote yes on everything with the exception of the positions that I feel should not be addressed. Is that correct, Mr. Solicitor? Yes. Thank you.
And so which positions are those, Gary, so that Gina and I
Yes.
can consider your objection?
My objection has been stated before that I don't feel that we've sufficiently vetted the expansion plan. There's a significant expansion plan for children and youth. And I voted against the creation of those at this time, and therefore I want to be consistent and vote against the filling of those positions at this time. So I'm in favor of everything else but the new positions. That require more attention.
On the personnel actions for adoption, I'm not seeing any new positions.
Is there not one?
There's a new hire. There are some shifts. There's one new hire.
Okay, the new hire is not for one of the new positions. Administrative technician. Yes, no?
I'm not certain.
Is Holly online? I'm gonna need it.
I don't have it printed out. We could show you.
There's Holly.
There's Holly.
There she is.
I am online. I'm sorry. I was pulling up the list of the new positions. It's something that we'd have to pull here really quickly. Give me 1 second.
The question is pretty simple. The new hire, is that for one of the new positions that was previously done as part of the expansion plan? Or is that?
So it's not something,
Separate.
again, I can't quickly answer that because we don't designate positions as part of the plan that was approved. So I'd have to go back and look at the records to see when that position was created to be able to answer your question.
Just ask the department head, this one hire, is that for one of the new positions?
I honestly don't have the list in front of me.
CY 3005,
305.
Most likely.
administrative technician.
Yes. It's a filling of a position that somebody left and went to a new position.
So it's an existing position.
It was an existing
Okay.
position.
Thank you. I withdraw my objection.
So then, would you like to make a motion to approve the personnel transactions?
I'll move for approval of personnel transactions in total.
I'm gonna second that. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners. So that then takes us to the regular agenda, which is a list of non-routine items. They will be discussed and be acted upon individually. First up, we have discussion and approval of resolution 2024-30 regarding issuing a certificate of approval for a project to be undertaken by Messiah Home. And we have Hubert Gilroy here to discuss.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for letting us come in. I have with me Jared Leo, who's the CFO for Messiah. This is an approval of a financing for Messiah to proceed with some new construction and also refinance some of their prior bonds that they went through the Cumberland County Authority. The authority has approved this, and we had a TEFRA hearing already to take public comment. Nobody showed up, so there was no public comment. It's a standard financing like we've done. There's no pledge of assets or taxing power for the county or the authority. The bondholders must look to Messiah for payment on their bonds. We're just helping facilitate it to make sure it's tax-free. And Jared, see if you have any questions, or I can respond to any questions. And we provided the resolution to Keith and the staff in advance.
So this is no different than previous transactions.
Exactly the same, right? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Gilroy. Thank you for making an investment in Messiah College and continuing to do so here.
This is Messiah Lifeway.
Messiah, I'm sorry, Messiah Lifeways. Oh,
We just did one for Messiah College earlier.
yes.
And
Confusing that.
well, yeah, when I advertised this the prior meeting, it said Messiah College, so it was a mistake that we could fix. Fortunately, we just had to re-advertise. So.
And Messiah Lifeways is what the services are greatly needed in Cumberland County. So I appreciate the investment that you're making here. And it's our pleasure to support a tax-free vehicle for you. So would someone like
move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. May we be excused?
You may, and you do not have to stay around for the rest of the meeting.
Hope you have a nice short one.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Okay, next up, agenda item 16 is discussion and approval of the credit application with Ahold Delhaize USA. Hopefully I said that right. For the finance department, we have Ronzo joining us on Zoom.
Good morning, commissioners. We're asking for approval on a credit application with Ahold, which is the parent company of Giant Foods. So we currently have this service. This is just a renewal of the paperwork that Ahold has us do every couple of years. This allows our departments to go to Giant and purchase food for meetings and trainings, tax exempt, and then Giant then bills us for it.
Okay,
Any
questions for Ron?
Thank you. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll move forward.
It's moved.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank Ron. Thank you, commissioners. Agenda item 17 is discussion and approval of the 3C Small Bridge Program. We have Kirk Stoner joining us online to discuss. Morning, Kirk.
Sure. Good morning, commissioners. The item before you today is our 3C Small Bridge Program. We discussed this at the October 16th finance meeting. As you recall, it's a program to use our $5 local use fee to deliver 17 projects to our municipal partners. There'll be a combination of grants to projects that municipalities have already begun, and also projects that would be county-led, where we're bundling projects together to realize efficiencies and economies of scale to deliver those projects. We deliver the projects over the next 3 years. There'd be a 50% local match that municipalities can provide in cash, or if they have other assistance and funds that they've expended to help complete the project. Asked for comments after the meeting on the 16th. I received a little feedback, no major modifications to the program. So bringing the program forward to you today for your prospective approval. With that, we'd reach out to municipalities, validate their interest in participating in the program, and then work to execute contracts with them to get the project started, as we are intending to deliver projects in 2025 with approval of the program.
Any questions for Kirk?
No, Kirk, I would just wanted to commend you for your efforts on this. I think it's going to be a great help and support to the municipalities to make some needed infrastructure improvements that help the whole county. So thank you for all of the time and energy you put into this, and will continue to put into this as the program is deployed. Any other questions of Kirk?
No, but I'll move to approve.
I'll second, but I did have one question. Kirk, does this involve refresh my memory, does this involve the liquid fuels as well, or is that entirely separate?
Gary, the liquid fuels we reserved for our use for the county projects that we have on our bridges. So this is just the $5 local use fee. You'll see in our
Okay.
calculations too, we've kept that to about $1 million per year for the program. So we are reserving money for ourselves to make sure that we're keeping good care of our own infrastructure.
Thank you for that.
And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if anyone's here from finance, we are paying for one of our payments for our PIP loan from this fund as well, I believe. So we are making sure that our needs are met. Thank you, and I appreciate that, Kirk. So there's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Thanks, Kurt. That takes us then to agenda item 18, which is discussion and approval of resolution 2024-31 regarding amending the fee collected pursuant to the Uniform Parcel Identifier Law. And we have Kathy Waters here to discuss. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. This is a request to increase our UPI fee, Uniform Parcel Identifier, from $15 to $20. The last time we had the UPI fee was in 2013. So this would be an increase from $15 to $20, and it would be effective for January 1, 2025.
Any questions for Kathy?
No, I just wanted to thank Kathy. This is one of the items that came out of some of our informational meetings as where we're challenging departments to look at potential ways to increase revenue where we may have been sub-market on our fees that we were charging and maybe perhaps not covering some of the costs involved in that process. So thank you very much, Kathy, for your initiative on this.
Yeah, I would just note that Tammy Shear worked very closely with Kathy.
Yes.
Were you getting ready to say the same thing, Kathy? I think you were.
Yes, thank you to Tammy as well. She's not here today, so. All right, is there entertain a motion for?
Move for approval.
A second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Thanks, Kathy. That takes us then to not me anymore. I'm actually going to turn the meeting over to Angela Smizer to cover contracts and grants.
Thanks, Stacy. Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Moving on to agenda item 19, I will call on Robin Weigel to discuss a contract addendum for the assessment office. Good morning, Robin.
Good morning. This is our annual homestead mailing. We send approximately 58,000 postcards to all approved homeowners, letting them know that they're approved, and as long as they still remain the owner and resident of the property, they will remain in homestead. We also send out approximately 26,000 invitation application instruction to any potential homeowner for the homestead. That's all managed through our office and Vision. And then the school districts, when we have the exact number, reimburse the county for all of the costs.
Any questions for Robin?
Robin, have you evaluated, instead of mailing out a full packet, just a postcard with like a QR code to save up so that if they want a packet, they could request one?
No, we've never gone. It's always been a, big thing. Hey, you could be eligible for homestead. Here's what it involves. Here's your application. Here's how you fill it out, and they get an envelope to send it back.
Okay. We may want to look at that just as an efficiency for the cost of mailing out, depending on what the return rate is on those packets and that sort of thing. So I think that would be great for the next go round to maybe.
We also send out that packet in-house. Once we have our cutoff and we provide the data to the vendor, those are the only people they're going to be reaching out to. So when a property transfers, we take it upon ourselves to send that new owner the application, because they don't always know that it's out there, especially new home buyers. So we take it upon ourselves to send out an application to them so that we make them aware, and then they can, make the decision to apply. I don't know how many we send out. From November, so say from November 18th to 2 weeks before March 1, mid-February. 1,000. Yeah, we probably send out 1,000. applications ourselves, just so those new homeowners have an opportunity to apply, because they can only apply between December 15th and March 1 for the upcoming year. And it's unfortunate, we'll get a call, or we'll get something March 5th, or, well, I just settled yesterday. And sorry, that's the law. You know, so we do try to help out as many people as we can.
And I appreciate that. We'll just have to maybe take a look at, if there is a more efficient way so that we're not doing all the printing costs and the mailing costs on these packets, depending on, like I said, the return rate. So, nothing that, is of alarm for me to, not move forward with this approval, but if we could maybe take a look at some numbers on that and circle back, I would really appreciate it.
We'll do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do we have, to that point, do we have an idea what the response rate is on that first mail? Is it minuscule? Is it substantial?
Probably 3,500, 4,000.
Oh, the responses.
Usually, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And you did say this is 100% reimbursed by schools.
Absolutely. When we have the exact number, we break it down for them, number of postcards, number of invitations, and they reimburse us back 100%. Yeah, we actually email the school districts and say, oh, Homestead's coming up. Do you still want the county to act on your behalf? And we always get 100%. Absolutely. We love that you're doing it.
Okay. Thanks. Entertain a motion? I'll second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item 20, I will call on Jamie Riber to discuss the contract for children and youth services. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, everyone. The contract for you today is Marquis, Pennsylvania. It is one of our foster care providers. They are requesting increases this year, and typically they don't request too much of an increase, but this year they did have a little bit more significant increases, ranging from 6.87% to 56.57, which that was kind of an outlier one. The rest of them were all within like 2025. They are within the state maximum budget allowed. They did increase their per diem that they pay directly to the foster parents to care for the children. So that is part of the increase. And then the other part of the increase is their overall operating cost, salary, benefits, things like that. Any questions?
No. Jamie, this is what we're just going to continue to see, and we have been seeing all year long. We had a meeting with finance yesterday, and we are overmatched in our funding due to a lot of these rising costs. It's unfortunate, but it is where we are at this point in time. So thank you for outlining the percentages of these increases that are being requested. That's always very helpful for us.
Sure.
Anyone have any questions of Jamie?
I don't have any questions, Jamie, but one of the things that the public doesn't get to see, right? I mean, you've said that these are programs for foster care, but I'm just going to read the names of some of them because I think that that's really important that people understand the work that is happening in children and youth and the work that our providers are doing. So we have foster care infant only, foster care mother with infant, foster care with 2 infants, therapeutic foster care mother with infant, respite foster care, emergency respite, therapeutic foster care full fee, therapeutic foster care room and board, CRR intensive treatment program, enhanced foster care with peer support, enhanced foster care with peer support, family stabilization and treatment, family stabilization and treatment. And that's just the first page, right? And I didn't hit them all. So these programs are so important. They're part of preventing future problems. Family stabilization and treatment is part of preventing future problems so that we don't have complex case children in dire straits. We don't have families in dire straits, and we have places for children to go for treatment. So I appreciate this. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate the good work you do in laying this out for us.
Thank you.
Great. Did we take a motion on that? Or no?
Not yet.
I'll move
Not
to-
yet.
Okay, move to approve it. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Thank you, and thank you, Jamie. Okay, moving on to agenda item 21, I will call on Melissa Calvinelli and Jennifer Bray to discuss a contract for court administration.
Good morning, Commissioners. We are requesting approval of the contract with Judicial Systems for the Genesis software. If you remember from the capital request, this is the moving us from the 2009 version of the software to the 2024-25 version of the software. It will allow much more interaction by the jurors to complete tasks on their own. It will also allow us to be much more efficient, make changes on our own instead of having to go through the vendor every time. First year cost, it looks a little crazy on the cost because it looks like it's $130,000 increase. We've only been paying maintenance annually since we originally bought it 2009. There's basically a purchase price and then an annual maintenance. We've only been paying just under $10,000 a year for maintenance. First year is $77,000, but that's the purchase plus first year maintenance. After that, it'll just be ongoing maintenance, which basically includes everything we want to do. They don't charge us extra for every add-on or change or anything.
Any questions? No. Very good. Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve. I second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to agenda item 22, and I will call on Eric Radnovich to discuss the contract for the District Attorney's Office FID. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Commissioners. The contract before you is for Magnet Forensics for $10,725.41. It is a piece of software we're expanding on and renewing at the same time, allow us to do multiple phones at once due to volume increases.
Any questions for Eric?
And I will move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
You too. All right, that takes us to agenda item 23, and I will call on Ryan Simon to discuss the contracts for drug and alcohol. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. Good morning. Our first contract is with BGI of Brandywine, also known as Bowling Green Brandywine. They're an inpatient provider for us. They're asking for a 13% increase on their 3.5 high enhanced service and a 3% increase on their 3.7 withdrawal management. Second is Substance Abuse Services Incorporated, also known as the RAISE Project. They provide medication assisted recovery services for us. They're asking for a 5% increase. This is their first increase request since fiscal year 18-19. Any questions?
Any questions for Ryan?
No, thank you. I know. Ryan, the fiscal year 18-19 just kind of cracked us up a little. So it's 2018-2019 fiscal year. But thank you.
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Thank you, Ryan. That
Thank
takes
you.
us to agenda item 24, and Annie Straight is here to discuss the contract and grant for MHIDD. Good morning, Annie.
And good morning, everyone. So I have two contracts to present to the board this morning. The first is an amendment to a prior year contract, increase of $2,911 to the Perry County Prison. We pay for half of a prison counselor position in Perry County, and that brings the total to $31,111. That represents about a 10% increase over last year. And then the second contract is with the Devereaux Foundation. This is an intellectual developmental disabilities contract, and it's for the current fiscal year, 24-25, an increase of $14,637, which brings the total to $165,403. So $165,543, and that's again about a 10% increase. And the Devereaux Foundation provides residential services on the intellectual developmental disabilities side of our office, and it's for an increase of services authorized in HCSIS. Do you have any questions for me?
Entertain a motion.
For approval.
I second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Annie, could you hang on a second? Hey, I was on the impression you regarding the AOPC summit. I'm sorry to take things out of order here, but I thought that you had circulated a brief summary to the commissioners, and I went back and looked at it and saw that just came to the participating commissioner. So if it wouldn't put you on the spot too much, could you give us just a quick overview of that summit event? You'll do it far greater justice than I can.
Certainly, the administrative offices of the Pennsylvania courts have been having conversations around behavioral health services and concern for counties in provision of behavioral health services. So they made the determination that they would like to convene a summit. I believe it was extremely well attended. They started planning probably in July, and it was hosted last week over in Hershey. We had the privilege of actually presenting at the summit. And a lot of it was that the courts were asked to pull together a team, including their mental health office, as well as then the public defender, the district attorney, and judges that are operating typically in specialty courts. And so it was a 2-day summit, and there was a wealth of information provided. Earlier this week, I received a survey that needed to be completed, as well as feedback from the team that we had present or at the summit. So I'll be interested in reviewing that, completing it, and sending it back to AOPC. Our hope is that there's a lot of work between the Office of Mental Health and Substance Use Services and the administrative offices of the Pennsylvania courts to be able to strengthen the service delivery across the whole state. So we're thankful to be a part of it. We were thankful to be able to be asked to help present. So it was an exciting day. Felt like everything went well, and appreciated our commissioners' support. Commissioner Eichelberger and Commissioner Lyons from Perry County, as well as Commissioner Hartwick and my counterpart in Dauphin County, Andrea, provided a presentation as part of the summit. So it was a good day. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Annie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Annie. That takes us to agenda item 25, and I will call on Claudia Gardner to discuss the grant acceptance for public safety. Good morning, Claudia.
She's trying.
It looks like you're trying, Claudia. We can't hear you or see you quite yet.
How about now?
There you go.
Hey. All right. Happy Wednesday or Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, goodness. All right.
No.
All right. Public Safety is asking for your approval to accept the Emergency Management Performance Grant known as the EMPG for federal fiscal year 23-24. It has a period of performance of October 1 of 23 through September 30 of 24. This is a reimbursable grant of federal funds that's passed through from the Department of Homeland Security to the state and then on to the counties to distribute amongst the counties. To the state, to the counties for over 150 emergency management positions across the state. For Cumberland County specifically, it funds up to 50% of 2 of our staff positions. The awards are based on a formula that was last updated in 2021. Our grant award for this year is $91,224. And I believe the document you might have in front of you, the grant award amount is correct, but the previous grant award amount should have been $97,899, and that's a difference of $6,675. So I apologize if the previous amount was not correct, but the amount we're asking for you to accept is correct. In total, that's about okay. In total, that's
yeah. We did catch that, Claudia, and it is updated on their forms.
Awesome, thank you. That is 11% below our 5-year average award. However, it is still revenue coming in and therefore less of the general fund subsidy that's required from the county. Unless there's any questions, I ask for your approval and note that this is an e-grant, so it will require your electronic signature before November 22nd to accept the grant award.
Claudia, that decline, is that something we're going to see in the future? Is that a trend line down in this grant, or is that a one-time phenomenon? Any ideas on that?
It should start to stabilize out. In 2021, whenever they changed the formula, they had indicated at that time we would see a significant decrease in the 22 year, which was from 114 to 97,000. So we did see that, and now it should be less of an impact for years moving forward.
Okay, that's reassuring. Thank you.
Yeah. Still to go from 114 down to 91 in 2 years, that's not helpful, you know?
Right.
Just, again, disappointing in the funding streams.
Any other questions for Claudia?
No, none from me. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move for approval.
I second. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Claudia.
Thank you.
That takes us to agenda item 26, and I will call on Katie Isley to discuss a contract for the treasurer's office.
Good morning. I am requesting approval for the GovOS contract for the treasurer's office. I'm pleased to share that we were able to negotiate a decrease in the percentage per year from 10% down to 7%. Additionally, there was a one-time add-on for $4,950 to comply with what IMTO needed for single sign-on add-on. But in total, in our 5 years, this will reduce the price that originally was going to be for the county by $4,000.
Any questions for Katie?
Nope. Entertain a motion? I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. That takes us to agenda item 27, and I will call on John Bittner to discuss a grant application for vector control. Good morning, John.
Good morning, everybody. This is the 2025 application for the PA DEP Mosquito Disease Control Grant, which handles the West Nile program. Total is $121,451.
Any questions for John?
John, it looks like this too is a decrease in funding. Is that correct?
That's correct. Last year's was up because they had included an extra $20,000 for a new mosquito sprayer, which we do have now. So, so if you go back 2 years, this is actually an increase from 2 years ago, minus that ULV sprayer.
Okay, good. We like when things go up, but
Yeah.
thank you.
You bet.
Entertain a motion? 5 seconds. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, John. And with that, I will hand the meeting back over to Stacey.
Thanks, Angela. That takes us then to agenda item 28, which is Commissioner's Liaison Reports, and Commissioner Niebler, I will start with you.
Yes, over the last couple of weeks, I didn't have a lot of committee meetings, and it was a little bit quiet in with other items, but I did attend a few meetings here and there. I met with Linda Sims-Morris for the Partnership for Career Development, and she's taking a very unique approach to workforce development. So I'm hoping that we can advance that conversation in an area that is much needed. I am meeting with Janet from KDIC to see if there's a partnership there that could be formed that would be helpful for everyone. I believe many of us attended the Municipal Advisory Board meeting. I know my colleagues, I don't think could be there in person. It was, again, a good meeting amongst the municipalities, and I think they enjoy it, where they hear what's happening across the county. And I know I find it incredibly helpful myself. So that was a productive meeting. I attended the 4-minute city celebration at the Upper Island Fire Department, and that is such a wonderful first celebration that we were able to be a part of. It was the first life that was saved, and that gentleman was there and was so appreciative of the fact that this program had been implemented in Cumberland County. And so that is where citizens are trained to show up in communities across the county with an AED. And in this instance, they saved this man's life when he was walking in a park in Upper Island. So it was beautiful, really beautiful ceremony and celebration. Additionally, along with my colleague Commissioner Fasci, I attended the local emergency planning committee meeting. That was my first time at that event, and the summit, actually, I guess. And it was, I said it was fascinating, but in many respects terrifying, as the events that they are planning for, we really hope we never see in Cumberland County. So the good planning and effort and preparation is always, hopefully worth preventing items from happening here. Additionally, I attended the Representative Glines Veterans Breakfast, and that was, again, another beautiful celebration and honoring the veterans in Cumberland County. And Commissioner Fasci and I last evening attended the United Way Women's Network Fall Social. But most importantly, I know that I and my colleagues spent countless hours with our Bureau of Elections over the past 2 weeks. And I found it incredibly heartwarming, the effort and dedication that I saw during that process. So I want to just give a few shout outs of thank you. And I know this is hardly adequate, but the staff at the Bureau of Elections just did a bang up job. They were working a lot of overtime, long days to make sure that our election was handled very effectively, efficiently. People that wanted to vote were able to vote. We went to great lengths to make sure every vote counted, and put a lot of measures in place to assure a safe, accurate election for Cumberland County. Additionally, we had approximately 165 county employees that helped and participated in that process, and it could not have happened without them. Volunteers from departments, Sheriff Jody Smith is here today. Her team did a great job in supporting us in so many ways. Along with Brent Durham and the facilities team, and then volunteers from just about every department, as you pointed out yesterday, Commissioner Fasci, even from the library, we had some folks volunteering their time. It really took tremendous number of hands to make it happen, and it did. Additionally, I wanted to thank on behalf of this board, all of the poll workers and volunteers that gave their time, again, very, very long days and dedication to assuring that democracy is well in hand here in Cumberland County. Additionally, we had some really wonderful support from the Carlisle Regional Special Fire Police. And Bob Wirtz is the captain of that team. They we had so much volume of traffic into the Bureau of Elections building that was quite frankly not designed for this, and they kept everyone safe and made things quite orderly, which we deeply appreciated. And last but certainly not least, I wanted to do a shout out for the Carlisle Post Office postmaster, who was using extraordinary measures to make certain that every ballot that was in process on the day of election, by the time they closed their doors at 6 p.m., they were delivering and collecting from across the county, from other post offices, to make sure that they got to our Bureau of Elections. So they went above and beyond, and that team I know was put to task with helping make that happen. And we just want to extend our sincere thank you to all of those folks involved in the process. That's it for my report.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Hey, good morning, Cumberland County. I would remind you to use the Cumberland County Library System. We have fabulous libraries. Visit the one closest to you. You won't be disappointed. October 26th, my husband and I attended the 17th annual membership and recognition dinner at the U.S. Army Heritage Center. And that was a great time. We sat at a very lively table of incredibly interesting people. I love it when they toast the Army. Governor Corbett was the speaker. It was a fantastic evening. October 29th, I attended the first day of the AOPC Behavioral Health Conference. I attended as a member of our team, our court team. Boy, that was very, very cool. And the Honorable John T. Broderick Jr., who is the former Chief Justice of the New Hampshire Supreme Court, gave a good hour talk about, first he went through his family struggle with mental illness with his son. That was very enlightening. And then he talked about the importance of recognizing the 5 signs of mental illness and how important it is. And he really laid out how being a parent in the 70s and the 80s, where there was not an awareness of mental illness and not really realizing that his son had a problem, how he wishes, he and his wife, they both wish that they had known better. He was very clear about that. He's like, we just didn't know. We just did not know. So that alone was well worth the time being there. But I also attended a panel, Braden Toomey and I attended this together. It was the Office of Children and Families in the Courts addressing the impact of mental health on children and families. And boy, there was a committee there of judges and professionals from across the Commonwealth, and they gave a really good talk. And I so enjoyed spending time with that group from the courts. Like, I learned so much from them. And it was kind of them to ask me to come along, and I'm sorry I could not be there for the second day, because the second day, as Commissioner Nieder said, we both went to the LEPC summit, and you know, our LEPC puts on a great summit, and our public safety professionals do have such a fabulous part in that. So Steve Spangler is the chair of our LEPC, Jimmy Brandt, out at public safety, boy, does he hustle to get this done. Our hazmat team was there. Mike Taylor gave an overview and a demo of the hazmat equipment and what the team does. And I'm going to forget someone, but I don't mean to. Connie Hackard, fabulous, fabulous work. But our own David Miller, he gave a talk, and it was entitled "Active Assailant Through Your Eyes." And he's so good at explaining things about how you handle an active assailant and lessons that he's learned through all of his years policing and being part of a SWAT team. So I thank him for that. And then later that morning, a gentleman named Alan Hausman came in and gave a talk on lessons learned from the Tree of Life mass shooting. Not only does Mr. Hausman work in public safety in Allegheny County, he was called that day to respond, and he is also a member of that congregation. And he just unbelievable what he talked about. He was very forthcoming, and so appreciate that time. I mean, I just those 3 speakers alone in 2 days, right? Just so well worth the time, and really glad that they came to Cumberland County. And I'm really glad that we have David Miller, as well as so many other fabulous employees. But really, those things were very powerful. And that's it. And the elections, the election really has been everything that we've done. And, there's Keith and Jen sitting here, our solicitors who have helped tremendously and spent the day there. Commissioner Nieder and I spent most of the day there. It's a lot, and boy, did we pull it together. Thank you, Sheriff, for all those deputies, because they are fantastic. So that's it. Stacy, Angela. I mean, it was a work family, right? It's great.
That's it. Thanks. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, just briefly, the groups did not meet, so it was A-okay, because it was stated we had a lot of activity in regards to elections, both in terms of being out in that office, as well as a lot of decision making here. Some unique challenges, of course. This was a unique election. But I just want to echo some of the comments that were made. County really became an all hands effort on the part of employees and others to make this work. And I think with the controversy that has emerged over the last few years, if nothing else, I think it's given us a much greater appreciation for how how much goes into these elections and how difficult that job is, and the safeguards that are in place to ensure that we're in a position to deliver a fair election, so an accurate election. So I don't think we can say enough about that. With really having involvement of so many folks involved above and beyond the call of duty is just something we can't stress enough. People really rose to the occasion in a difficult situation. So kudos on that. The AOPC summit that's been mentioned a couple of times here. We did have a very good session. Annie gave you a good briefing on that. I think the one thing that I would have asked her about if we had more time, and would have been that what type of follow-up was needed. We had a very excellent breakout session. The questions were very good, so it was a very engaged audience, but the audience was predominantly county and state mental health officials and county elected officials as well. We were hoping for a little bit more from the judiciary, particularly AOPC members themselves, to try to provide additional information on the needs that are born at the ground grassroots level by the county government. I'm going to be asking Annie if there's some type of follow-up that we might want to do. The conference itself was extremely well attended. We were in the main ballroom at the Hershey Lodge, and I know many years ago, the firm I worked with, we organized events in that room, and I know that room is supposedly capable of holding 1,500 people. And that room was full in the morning, the second morning, when Annie and I were there. So that tells you there's a great deal of attention paid to this, and that there's a potential for a lot of reach. The speakers that I heard that day were exceptional. So hopefully we're moving the ball forward on that, maybe slowly but surely. And that session was definitely worthwhile. We had the presence of all three of our counties represented there. All of us got a chance to speak to important issues there. Everybody did a fantastic job. Even Bill Lyons, who's brand new and admitted that he was not an expert yet on that, he had the right things to say at the right time. And I think it showed a united front that county governments are serious about the need for this issue to get more attention from the Commonwealth. So I think it was a very successful event. We'd like to follow up on it. Sometimes the follow-up is more important than the actual event. So I'll be talking to Annie about that. So
Gary,
yes.
that was one question I had of either you or Jane, and it was one of the hopeful outcomes of this is to raise awareness so that there's funding that follows. Was there any discussion about adequately funding these services that are in place?
In the parts that I was present at, it was not overtly made, but in the speakers, it was woven into the message. And I think the intent was to help that message permeate back into the court operation, and hopefully that reaches the decision makers in the legislature as a result. But obviously anything that the increased knowledge among the decision makers at AOPC and affiliated functions, that certainly makes our case. I mean, they're not ignorant of the issue by a long shot, but hearing it with such immediacy, I believe probably is going to have residual impacts, if not necessarily a super tangible outcome that we can point to, but would be good for us to.
I mentioned it, and the Office of Children and Families in the courts at that particular breakout session, there were several judges there, and I mentioned that I thought that the bench had a unique opportunity to address funding and talk about that and make their legislators aware of the issue. There were a lot of judges there the day that I was there, and we absolutely discussed that. So it was good. Yeah. Thank you.
It was in our session, but we just didn't have judicial participation in that breakout session. Unfortunately, it would be super effective, but every little bit helps, I guess. The only other thing is IDD did give me a quick summary, just very basically. They're still waiting on their allocation letter from the state, even though they've gotten their numbers quite a while ago, informally. Fiscal staff's attending the first training of the ODP's new multi-year growth strategy, plan to end adult emergency waiting list, a goal that was been discussed for a great deal of time. And Mark informs me, he said the foundation of the plan is to shift to a management by budget rather than by the slots available, and to add waiver program capacity to the community living and consolidated waivers. So obviously, you can serve more people with better use of the resources. That's a plus. He said it'll allow greater flexibility. That's an important concept that you always hear out of that office. So the waiver capacity potentially reaches more people if we have the ability to put resources where they're actually needed. He said they'd continue to have a steady stream of referrals coming in. That's no surprise. That's a continuation of what we've seen. I believe that's everything I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. That takes us then to agenda item 29, which is report of executive sessions on October 31st, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. There was a session regarding personnel, and on the same day at 1 p.m., a session regarding real estate. Now I'll ask if there is any other business to come before the board today. Hearing none, seeing none, we are adjourned.